Okay. Hi, welcome to Sports Talk. Week 11 of the NFL season coming up. I'm here with my best little friend in the whole world, William Foley.
Thanks for having me down here, Dad.
You're welcome, pal. We're going to talk about some college football, NFL. Also, if you have any questions regarding any other sports, NHL, NBA, we will start covering more NBA and college basketball coming up next week. Todd Dewey will be back in here right next to me, replacing my son. But I did promise my son to come on the show. He was Student of the Month last month at J.G. Johnson, so I promised to squeeze him in for a month. Congratulations, pal.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay. Let's go to some college football. This week, the biggest game in college football, of course, is in the swamp. Florida State and Florida. Florida State ranked #1 in the country. Florida ranked #3. The winner, obviously, in a great spot for the Bowl Championship Series. And I've heard through numerous reports that if Nebraska were to win their next game at Colorado in the Big 12 Championship game the following week, that they would leapfrog Virginia Tech, even though Virginia Tech is undefeated. If Nebraska wins their next 2 games, they probably will play the winner of this Florida State-Florida game. Florida State, opened 3.5-point favorites. It's down to -3 now. It's going to be a great game, a college football game for the ages. Look for a lot of hard hitting and maybe not a lot of scoring in that game. Florida always tough in the swamp. They lost this year, I believe, for the first time in 30 games at home to Kentucky. Other than that, let's go to the NFL Week 11. We have Buffalo and the New York Jets. Last week, Doug Flutie, 10 of 20 for 157 yards. Buffalo beat up Miami 23-3. Monday night, the Jets come up big against New England. But even if the Jets were to win every one of the remaining games, it looks as though they still won't make the playoffs. They've already played 6 games at home, and there's 3 on the road. Antoine Smith last week for Buffalo had a big game, 29 carries for 126 yards. And we know the Jets have a great defense, William. So what does Buffalo have to do to score?
Protect Flutie and throw the ball.
Yeah, protect Flutie and throw the ball. Well, I'll tell you what, even if they don't protect Flutie, he could still run around and scramble and find openings anyway on his own. You know that.
Yeah, and he's a pretty good runner, so he could run on his own, huh, Dad?
Yes, he can. He can run on his own. The second game we want to talk about, by the way, the phone number here is 751-5786. If anybody wants to call, you can ask either one of us a question. We'll do the best job we can to answer it. Second game, we have the Lions at the Packers. Green Bay has lost 2 in a row at home, fallen on hard times. They're 4-5 now with Ray Rhodes as their coach, replacing Mike Holmgren. Gus Frerotte stepped in last week for Detroit, had 375 yards passing in a loss to Arizona, 23-19. The Lions now see the Minnesota Vikings right over their back. The Vikings only 1 game behind the Lions. Lions had a big 3-game lead, but the Vikings have won 4 games in a row. And what about the Packers? Why do you think it's Green Bay's defense against the run is so bad, son?
They are real young at cornerbacking.
Yeah, the real young cornerback. 3 first-round draft choice at corner. They had 2 safeties and a cornerback. All of them are taking their turns, but they got a good run defense on the front line with Gilbert Brown and the two guys at the end.
Dad,
Yeah.
is there going to be a Viking game this week?
No, the Vikings have a bye week, son.
All right, I might as well show this for right now.
Okay, pal. Show it. There you go. Your purple pride, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You think the Vikings got a chance this year to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but they have to shape up a little bit first, huh, Dad?
Yeah, they do, pal. We don't want to talk about that, though. 751-5786. If anybody has any questions, we'd like to answer trivia questions. We got a caller?
Caller, Bill.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing, Bill?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm just trying to catch up here, and hopefully that you don't get past that. We were talking about that Florida State.
Good. I'm glad.
First of all, can I ask you a question? How come every single year it's either Florida or Florida State for the national championship?
Well, I think the first thing you have to look at with Florida State is their schedule. I mean, they're in the ACC, which, everybody knows is probably one of the weakest conferences in the country. You got Georgia Tech, who they played at home. I believe they were a 3-touchdown favorite, and they squeaked by 3 or 7. That was one of the first games of the year. Other than that, Florida State really hasn't played anybody. After all, the over and under for victories for the season, over or under that you could have bet before the season start was 10.5, and they only played 11 games. So everybody expected Florida State to get to this point, and here they are. They're 10-0. They're facing Florida in the swamp. Florida always plays a tough schedule. I mean, you got Tennessee on your schedule. You got Georgia.
I just wish for once we don't have to see either Florida or Florida State in a big one. It always seems like something happens. Like last year, K-State loses to Texas A&M. That puts Florida State in there last year. Well, if K-State wins, Florida State would have never got there last year, right?
Right, and I think what you're going to see this week in the game Florida State and Florida, Florida's already lost at the Swamp once. I think Florida State comes in here. Winky has a couple of good games against some weaker teams, 6 touchdown passes a couple of weeks ago against a team. Florida State has struggled, Florida struggled the last couple of weeks with South Carolina and Vanderbilt. You got to believe that being 28-point favorites and 38-point favorites, only winning by a few points, they had to have been looking forward to this game against Florida State. I look for a big game from Florida, and I think it's going to be Florida and Nebraska in a national championship, which is unfortunate for Virginia Tech, even though they might finish with...
Virginia Tech kind of reminds me of K-State, a very good football team, but something's going to happen down here to stretch that they're probably not going to get in.
Well, you know, I'd like to see Nebraska lose, and not that I'm not a Nebraska fan, because Nebraska is always nice to watch in a big game, but Virginia Tech, I hate to see a team that goes undefeated not be rewarded with at least a chance.
The team's awful deep.
Yeah, and I mean, they were down 10-0 to Miami of Florida last week, and come back, and I believe they scored 44 straight points. And beat Miami of Florida at home. They're only favored by 10, down 10-0. They score 44 in a row. That defense is super awesome. And
by the way, the kid's doing good there. And at first, I thought your brother shrunk. Thank you.
All right, Joe. Take it easy, pal. Okay, the third game. New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins. New England coming in 6-3. Miami 7-2. Last week, Miami struggled, losing to Buffalo 23-3. They had the worst performance in the history of Miami's franchise at quarterback. I believe Heward throws for 96 yards. He's going to get the start again this week. Drew Bledsoe was sacked 9 times last week against the Jets. But what will Miami have to do to stop New England's offense?
I think Zach Thomas needs a very, very big game.
A few sacks? Big Zach?
Mm-hmm.
He's tough, isn't he?
Yeah.
The way he plays that linebacker, he hits hard. Right?
That's right, Dad.
All right, so if we get a big game from Zach Thomas, the kid thinks Miami has a chance to win. Also, don't forget, Miami is very limited at running back. They get rid of Abdul-Jabbar. Cecil Collins is out for the year, so they're going to have a lot of problems, Miami. With Marino not in the game, they're going to have to find some offense from somewhere, and I think they might have a little bit of difficulty this week against New England.
Dad?
What?
Can I say hello to my class real quick?
Yeah, say hello to your class.
Well, Miss Sims, I'd like to say hi to my class real quick.
Okay. Hi, Miss Sims. Okay. Game 4. Let's go to Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Okay. Atlanta, of course, last year was in the Super Bowl, if you remember. They had the Dirty Bird, right? We got a caller? Okay, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes.
I think Miami's going to go all the way this year, even though Marino's out, because they're like a really good team.
Well, Miami's got a very experienced coach, but the game you seen last week with Heward at quarterback, if Miami has to play any road games going into a game against Buffalo when it was cold and it was windy last week, he had lots of problems. He had, like I said, he had the worst game in the history of Miami at quarterback, and you know, they lose Cecil Collins. 2 weeks ago, they trade Abdul-Jabbar to Cleveland. They're just having a lot of problems on offense. I mean, you have, you know, I wish the best for you. The AFC is wide open, but Miami's got a lot of problems on offense right now that they got to remedy. Jimmy Johnson's offense doesn't have a lot of flexibility. It's pretty much everybody knows what he's going to do.
What does Billy think?
Do you think Miami's going to win this week against New England?
Yes.
You do?
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, thank you, caller.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, game 4, we have Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay coming in a 6.5-point favorite. Sometimes it's hard for Tampa Bay to even score 7 points in a game, huh? But we'll see what they do this week. Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Atlanta coming in 2-7, Tampa Bay 5-4. Last week, Trent Dilfer finally had a decent game. But everybody knows Atlanta's horrible this season. What do you think is their main problem?
They really, really miss Jamal Anderson.
The big guy, number 32, huh?
Yep.
Remember you used to do the Dirty Bird?
Yeah.
How's he get that? Dirty Bird? Okay, we got game 5, Seattle at Kansas City. Seahawks and the Chiefs. Kansas City 4-0 at home, and 1-4 on the road playing Seattle, who had a squeaker against Denver on Sunday night, 20-17. Even though Seattle comes into the game 7-2, offensively and defensively, they really, stat-wise, haven't shown a lot. They look good on paper, but they really haven't shown a lot. The Seahawks also are leaving home sweet dome and going to Kansas City, where Kansas City is so tough. How can you be 4-0 at home and only 1-5 on the road, son?
Crowd noise, Dad.
Crowd noise. It gets really loud in KC, huh?
Yeah.
Them fans get going. They're crazy, aren't they? You seen the
Yeah.
guy with the red face? Remember in the KC? Remember?
Yeah. And if that was the Browns, oh, you know they would be acting up. Remember on the first game when that dog was hitting his head with the bone?
Yep, I remember talking about the Cleveland game, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, 751-5786. If anybody has any questions, I appreciate a call. Anybody even from Williams' class would like to call up and ask any questions, ask them any questions. Let's go to Game 6 right now. Pittsburgh at Tennessee. Last week, Pittsburgh at home against Cleveland had the opportunity of being a 14-point favorite and losing at home 16-15 on a last-second field goal by the Browns. They're having major problems against Stewart. Considering a 10-for-20 game and 147 yards is a good game for Cordell Stewart, they got a lot of problems on offense. They can't continue to rely only on Jerome Bettis. Steelers are second in the league against the pass, but what's Tennessee's game plan offensively against the Steelers' defense?
Eddie George needs at least 30 carries.
At least 30 carries. When Eddie George carries the ball 30 times, you know Tennessee's record is 14-1?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And he's from the University of Ohio State. They could probably use Eddie George this year, couldn't they? Well, last week, Eddie George had 29 carries for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Tennessee went on to win 24-14. So if you think he gets the same type of game this week, you think Tennessee goes ahead and beats Pittsburgh. Is that right?
Yeah, but Dad, you know what?
What?
Eddie George, I think he's one of the best players I know.
Yeah, he's one of the best running backs. He can do everything. He can block and catch and run and everything. Plus, he's a leader, huh? A team leader. He cares about the team, not just himself, huh?
Last year, Cunningham almost was the Super Bowl champion, huh, Dad?
Yeah, we'll get him this year, pal.
No, we took it away, right, Dad?
That's right. Game 7, we got Carolina at Cleveland. Cleveland has won 2 of their last 3
I'll
games.
see the next game right there.
Okay, we got Carolina at Cleveland. Carolina coming in at 6-point favorite. Like I said, Cleveland has won 2 of their last 3 games. Carolina on the road, even though they've had some trouble, is a 6-point favorite. They got only 99 points this year has been scored by the Browns, and Carolina's going to have a lot of blitzes against that Cleveland offense. Even though Cleveland is last in offense and next to last in defense, how do they have to score to have a chance?
You want to know what that's because of?
What?
Tim Couch.
Tim Couch, the young QB from Cleveland, University of Kentucky, number 2, right? Remember the play against when they won their first game against New Orleans? He ran all the way to the corner, threw the ball in the end zone. They all jumped for it, and then they ran on the field like they won the Super Bowl.
Hey,
Huh?
Dad.
What?
I think 49ers could win.
Okay, well, that's okay.
What you wrote down, I have to say, right? That's on the next page, right?
Okay, the next page.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we got Carolina, Cleveland. As I said, Carolina minus 6 points over Cleveland. Cleveland has won 2 of their last 3 games, and expect a close game because Cleveland is home. Do we have a caller? No caller? Okay. Okay, next game we have Indianapolis at Philadelphia. Indianapolis coming in a 7-point favorite. Last week, Philadelphia on the road shocked the Redskins 35-28. They were down early, ended up coming back to win. Deuce Staley had another big game. But Indianapolis, 7-2 in first place in the AFC East. Peyton Manning seems to me like he might be the best quarterback in the NFL already in his second year. Philadelphia has had problems offensively, but they'll need to score to have a chance in this game.
I think the Colts are too good, but Dad, you know what?
What?
You wrote this, so
I know, buddy. I know. Okay, but you do think the Colts are good, right?
yeah.
They got Edgar James and Peyton Manning. But the thing is, son, they're coming into an outside stadium this week.
Oh, great.
And we're going to see what type of score
We got
they
a
have.
caller, Dad. We got a
Okay,
caller.
go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hi.
How you doing?
Brian? Hey, I was wondering, why do you think the Packers are doing so bad? What do they need to do to turn it around?
The Packers just, Packers are loaded with emotion at one position at quarterback. It seems like I don't know. They just don't have a fire under them. I don't know if it's Ray Rhodes. They're in a lot of 2nd and 15s. They're making. Brett Favre has had like 2 brutal games where he's had 5 turnovers and 4 turnovers, and Favre's been playing hurt, and that's just the type of guy Favre is. He's going to play hurt, and he's going to have games like that. To me, Favre's one of the top 3 players in the NFL, but Green Bay doesn't seem to be able to overcome. When he's got a thumb injury, they're not able to run the ball 30 times like they did last year when they had Bennett and Levens together. Because Favre used to play through injuries all the time, but this year playing through the injuries, he's still got to pass 40 times for the Packers to have a chance.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people look at Brett Favre when they don't win, and everybody else on the team just kind of like ducks their head.
Well, last week, I remember watching the end of the game. The announcer made the comment that Antonio Freeman hadn't had a reception into the 3rd quarter of the game, and I mean for Green Bay to have a chance. You got to get Freeman in the game. They already lost Derek Mays. Mike Holmgren steals Derek Mays from Green Bay for a 5th or 7th round draft pick, and he's one of the top 5 guys in the NFL in touchdown receptions this year. So I think you might have a situation where when they lost Mike Holmgren, that they might have lost a lot of confidence. Remember, Ray Rhodes came in as a reputation for being a conservative coach, and basically having a couple of good years in Philly, and the last 2 have been down. And he really couldn't get his teams to play for him the last couple of years. And Mike Holmgren's a key. That guy's a winner. He can just coach.
Yep.
But it's unfortunate for Brett Favre because, like I say, even though I'm a Viking fan per se, anybody who doesn't like Brett Favre really can't appreciate football because he'd be playing in the snow, the mud, broken legs and arms. He's just a great competitor. So I hate to see that happen to him.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Especially if it starts to be in a rebuilding program with Green Bay. They drafted first 3 draft picks for cornerbacks and safeties, basically so they can compete with the Vikings. Well, when they did that, they lose Reggie White on defense. Gilbert Brown is basically only a rush defensive guy. Santana Dotson, he's missed a few games. And offensively, a couple offensive linemen have missed 3 or 4 games. And it's just a culmination of things that the Packers haven't been able to overcome that they could have overcome, I think, with Holmgren as their coach.
Yeah, it seems like the rest of the team hasn't turned it up along with Brett Favre. It just seems like the rest of the team is like totally mediocre.
Well, the good thing about the Packers, what they have going for them, is that they still have 7 games left, and they're 4-5 right now, and they still play Minnesota and Green Bay this week right here. If they beat the Lions, Packers go to 5-5, and the Lions will have 4 losses, which would put them only 1 game out. So I mean, their season is not over, and anytime maybe Favre gets healthy and he steps in, they win 6 or 7 games. I could see that happening with the Packers. I don't think that they're that bad right now. I think maybe a couple big wins can straighten their confidence out, and they could be right there at the end. NFC's wide open, and we'll get to that later on with St. Louis. We'll have a couple things to say about them.
Did you
Thanks a lot.
accidentally kick me, or did you kick me on purpose?
Okay, I did it on purpose. Okay. Okay, now where are we at? We got Baltimore and Cincinnati. The Ravens are 3-6. Okay, Cincinnati is 1-9. The Ravens have the #1 defense in the whole NFL. And caller?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So what do you think of the Chargers?
What do we think of the Chargers? Okay, we'll get to the Chargers in 2 games. We're 2 games away from the Chargers. We'll get to the Chargers, okay?
Hello?
Yes. I know they must be from somebody's 2nd grade class. Okay, we got Baltimore and Cincinnati. The Bengals, like I said, are 1-9. Next year they got a new stadium coming. What do you think? What do you think is the problem with the Bengals, son? What's their problem for the whole year?
You wrote this, but their season's over.
Their season's over. I heard I wrote this enough.
Okay.
Okay, their season is over. The Bengals 1-9. Obviously, next year they get a new stadium. The coach will be gone, Coslett. 2 straight seasons with a losing record. This year even worse than last year's. But this year, hopefully after this season, when they start with the new stadium, they will start with the #1 draft pick. 1:15, we got Dallas at Arizona. Cowboys are really beat up. Emmitt Smith probable. Troy Aikman is out. And Deion Sanders is doubtful. Cowboys 4-0 at home, but only 1-4 on the road. Last week, Michael Pittman for the Cardinals, 23 carries for 133 yards. Really showed Arizona has some type of running game to go with. Jake Plummer being out is a real key.
Dad, there's a caller. Show some respect.
Okay, we got a caller?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just wondering, why do you think they've tolerated the Bengals? I mean, on the NFL thing, because I mean, they took out the Oilers and they made them the Titans, and I mean, they had to come back with another name. But why do the Bengals are doing so bad right now? I mean, why do you think they've tolerated?
Well, I think it all starts at the start of the year when Achilles Smith holds out. He's supposed to come in and be the starting quarterback, if not in the first game, but in the second or third, fourth game of the year. He signed a big contract, but he was a holdout from Oregon. He didn't come in until very, very late in training camp. And if you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL, you need to be in camp at the very start of camp. I mean, sometimes you're even there a full year and you don't know the whole system. But to me, that set the tone, and they lose a couple of close games early in the season, and it basically steamrolled from the year before when they blow like 8 of their last 9 games of the season last year.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you figure they've won 1 game out of their last 18 or 19 games. Next year, they know they get a new stadium. The players know Kozlet's gone. Even if they win the remaining games this year, they go 7-9 out of the playoffs. They've been out of the playoffs now for about 3 weeks. It's just too much to overcome. And,
but I mean, they're spending money to give them a new stadium, and then they go and throw the Oilers out. I didn't think the Oilers were that bad. But they had to leave and then come back.
Houston, even the only time Houston really ever supported their football team is when they had Earl Campbell back in 70s and early 80s. And even in baseball, they've struggled with attendance in Houston. And the Astros, I remember a couple of playoff games, not last year when they played the Braves, but the year before. You're talking only like 33,000 fans. And they're just not supporting their teams, either one of them. And the Rockets are also looking to get out. They're talking about maybe moving the Rockets to Las Vegas. So, I mean, they're having all kinds of problems with the Houston teams.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
Dad,
Yeah.
doesn't this say confidence?
Okay. We have Dallas and Arizona. Like I said, Dallas is 4-0 at home, 1-4 on the road. And how can you explain the Cowboys' problems on the road, son?
No confidence.
No confidence. Plus the injuries, right? No Troy Aikman?
Right.
Okay. Emmitt Smith comes back this week, though. You got an Emmitt Smith jersey, right? You like Emmitt?
Michael gave it to me, Dad.
Okay. Emmitt Smith is a real pro, though. With a guy like Emmitt Smith, he could take a little pressure off Jason Garrett and maybe take some of the load off. They come in less than a field goal favorite over the Cardinals, which doesn't seem like a bad price considering the success they have over the Cardinals. Okay, let's go to next game.
I asked for the jersey, though.
Okay.
Because I just
Caller?
wanted something to wear.
Caller? No caller. Okay. Next game, St. Louis Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams come in leading the NFL in scoring. Out of the 6 touchdowns the 49ers have scored in the last 5 games, 4 of them have come on defense. And that doesn't bode well for the Niners this week. They need some offensive scoring. They got Steve Stenstrom starting, the third-string quarterback. Niners have had all kinds of problems. You're talking losing 28-6 last week to the Saints. They made the Saints look like the Bears of 1986 last week with their defense against the Niners. What do you think is going to happen this week?
It will get ugly for the 49ers. Sorry, Troy,
didn't
but he
write
wrote
that.
it. Sorry, Troy, but he wrote
Okay.
it. I didn't ask him to.
The Rams this year are 7-2, but those 7 victories all coming against very, very less opposition. No wins against any winning teams. They are going on the road into a grass stadium. We'll see what they do on the road this week, even though the Niners aren't like the old Niners. We have a caller? Go ahead, caller.
I tell you what, Carmen Policy's got to be like the President of the United States to get out of there at the right time, huh?
Yeah, he's
Because he sure seen what was coming down the pike, man, as far as the 49er situation.
well. You could the whole 49er situation. You could just you could put that all on Steve Young. If Steve Young plays, the Niners probably are 6-3. He's
Well, I understand that, but you know what? The years past, though, the 49ers have always been able to insert a quarterback into that system, and the guys always seem to have done pretty good when Young or Montana went down.
yeah.
But
well,
now it's just so bad. The backups are so bad on that team right now, and they
well,
don't have
the
an
problem with
offensive
San
line.
Francisco is they used to have experienced backups. Elvis Gerback and Bono. They both had experience as quarterbacks. You stick Stenstrom in there, and then they had Drunken Miller, if I said that right. And I mean, they just have had a lot of problems. And who was the Garcia from the arena football? Is that correct?
Right.
Garcia. You would think Garcia would have the poise to direct the Niners offense because, I mean, being from the Arena Football League, He's got to see 4 wide receivers in a matter of 2-3 seconds to see who to throw to. But I was very shocked at his poor performance.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's too bad that Druckenmiller got in trouble because I thought he was a very good backup and possibly could have turned out to be a good starting quarterback for the 49ers down the road.
I'll tell you what, the 49ers told you a lot this year when they signed Lawrence Phillips, and they got what they deserved last week.
Well, that, and like I said, Carmen Policy, he's got to be the smartest guy on earth right now to leave when he did, I think.
Oh, he's smart. I heard Lawrence Phillips and J.R. Ryder are going to open a restaurant. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's called Get Out of This Place.
It's called Shyster.
Shyster.
Shyster. All right, thanks for the call, Joe.
Has it been an hour or just a half
Fine.
hour?
I don't know. Okay. Okay, next game, the Giants at the Redskins, both coming in 5-4, tied for first place with the Cowboys. Last week, the Giants lose to Indianapolis 27-19, and Washington upset at home, as we said earlier, 35-28 to Philly. We got a caller? Go ahead, caller.
Broncos, Broncos, Broncos.
Broncos. I think, was that a call from last year, Vern, or is that today? Must have been. Okay. Anyway, we'll get to the Broncos game on Monday night. Anyway, Giants and Redskins both 5-4. Giants are 30th in the NFL running the football, but the Redskins' biggest problem is stopping the run. If the Giants have a chance to win, what do they have to do this week?
Run the stinking ball, huh, Dad?
Yeah, because the Giants' quarterback situation is so bad, their only hope is to run the ball, and that is Washington's weakness. If you give Washington too many chances with the ball, with the offense they have with Brad Johnson, right?
Yeah, and if they don't run, then it's going to get so ugly, huh, Dad?
Yes, it is. Because Washington's going to be able to put up some points. If they get 10 to 12 possessions, they
Bailey
put.
picking off about 3 picks from that Jeff Graham. That real Champ Bailey. That Champ Bailey, I think he's going to have a field day this week.
Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, Giants and Washington.
He sure made McNabb look like a king.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, man, I don't like laying 6.5 at Washington. Their defense isn't very.
I think it should be a pick 'em.
No, I don't know about a pick 'em, but their
that's how
defense
bad they
isn't
give
good
up
enough to be
points.
giving 6.5 points to anybody.
As bad as they give up points, it should be a pick 'em.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think this weekend in the NFL, going down the list of games, I can't see Tampa Bay being a 6.5 point favorite, and I can't see Baltimore only being 4.5 against Cincinnati.
I tell you what, the Chargers are so bad, I think they should be getting 7 at home.
Against the Bears?
Yes.
Well, last week with Jim Miller, quarterback in the Bay, he puts up over 400 yards passing. Stop.
Move your hair real quick.
I'm looking at about a 35-3 ball game,
Yep.
and that's going to be on
Chicago scoring 35?
I think they'll put 35 up on that. That defense has gone south for the Chargers.
Well, Junior Seau, I haven't heard much about him the last few weeks. I see him on the sidelines throwing things a lot, but I haven't heard his name as far
There's
as.
a lot of morale problem there on that team. I don't know if you caught that. San Diego's been talking a lot about that incident that happened on the field last week.
Yeah, with Harbaugh getting yelled at by the safety or something?
Yeah, a lot of talk's been going on in San Diego about that. I talked to my friend down there in San Diego, and there's a lot of hype and everything in the paper about that situation. So I think the Chargers got a lot of morale problems right now.
Well, they got some type of problems. Weren't they 4-2 or 4-1 to start the season?
Well, they were.
Yeah, I'm saying.
nobody-
So it's been they're 4-5 now, so they've lost at least 4 in a row.
Yeah, they got a lot of problems down there, and you can't blame it because they lost their running back. I mean, this team's just they're pointing fingers at each other. I mean, they got a lot of problems.
Well, when they stuck with Eric Kramer for that 3-game stretch, he basically lost the game against the Packers by himself with the 4 interceptions. Then they bring Harbaugh
I tell you what,
in.
they're playing so bad right now. You could put Joe Namath back there, and they wouldn't win a ball game.
Well, we don't know about this week against Chicago, though. Remember, Chicago's looking forward to Turkey Day. They play the Lions next
Well, they're
week.
getting ready to eat turkey. It's called
Yeah.
San Diego Charger turkey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the call, Joe.
Have a good one.
All right, man. Speaking of the Chargers, we got the Bears and the Chargers, a pick'em game. Last week, Jim Miller, 34-48, 422 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they're playing a Chargers team offensively who's had a lot of problems. They're also last in the NFL in rushing, and the Bears have put up some numbers last week, losing a heartbreaker to the Vikings in overtime, 27-24. The Bears woke up last week against the Vikings. The Bears
Dad, you
woke
went
up
3
last
ahead.
week against the Vikings.
You want 3 ahead, Dad.
Okay, well, we'll catch up. We're right here, pal.
Well, Dad, at the end I'm going to do some, all right?
No.
Yeah.
Don't whisper at me. Don't whisper at me.
I'm gonna say hi to my friend at school.
Okay, you can do that. Okay. Okay, well, we're talking about the Bears and the Chargers and your teacher. Okay, we're talking about the Bears and Chargers now. Okay? Now, the quarterback situation for the Bears last week, Jim Miller had a big game. He had over 400 yards. Look at the camera, pal. Okay? Do you think he's going to have a big game again this week, or do you think the Chargers with Junior Seau is going to wake up?
They're gonna wake up, man.
You think so? Chargers going to have a good game?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the Sunday night game.
Last time I was terrible, huh, Dad?
Yep.
They
Let's go
hardly even got anything.
Okay, we're going to go to the Sunday night game. If you have any questions, please, 751-5786.
It's hot
Stopping
now.
you, Dad.
Pardon me?
Go ahead, take
Oh,
it.
Caller?
Yeah, call it.
Go ahead, caller.
Cái đây có vài ai đó cái thằng ai hay vô từ họ cái ta lại cái sự cái vậy vậy
I miss
ai vậy
Todd Dewey.
ai vậy cái dài ta có phải
All right, let's go to Sunday night. The Saints at the Jaguars, okay? Saints running back, Ricky Williams? I don't know, son.
Neither do I.
Okay, Saints running back, Ricky Williams last week, 99 yards. Look at, okay. Jacksonville allows less than 9 points a game. We got a caller? Go ahead.
Chargers rule, man.
Chargers rule.
Yes. I mean, whether
Drool. She said drool.
you... No.
You sound like you're having a lot of fun there.
Yes, I am.
Huh?
Trust me, we're having more fun, huh, Dad?
Yeah, pal.
Yeah, I bet you guys are.
Yeah, we are.
So are you little... Never mind.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, pass on the caller, Vern. The Saints in Jacksonville on Sunday night. Jaguars coming in averaging, giving up less than 9 points a game. Ricky Williams last week, 99 yards rushing. Jacksonville struggled offensively all year, haven't they?
Yeah. I look for a close game.
I do too. I look for Jacksonville. Probably, they're getting 12.5 points. I look for Jacksonville somewhere to stay within striking distance, not to win, the Saints to stay within striking distance, maybe not to win the game. But Jacksonville hasn't scored enough all year to warrant laying 12.5 points. Do we have a caller? Go ahead.
Go Bears and Maisonettes.
Huh?
Go Bears.
Go Bears. I love people. I don't know, man. I heard I got a second grader on TV here. And,
That cuts it. I look for a close game. Right, Dad?
That's right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Help me.
Go on. Go
Is
ahead.
this the sports channel?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Why don't we get the young man off of that program? He has no business on there.
Uh-huh.
This is terrible. And it's a shot in the dark for the sports book of Nevada. Let's get this young boy off of that program, please.
No, I feel bad. I feel
do I.
bad. Let me tell you something. When I was 9 years old, I used to drive my dad to the sports book every day. He used to bet his parlays. I used to wait in the car with the dog. And me and my dad were as close as anybody can be. And I turned out a good person.
Dad, Ashes could kill a rabbit in 1 second, huh?
I know, buddy. This here is basically a favor I did just to get him on TV. If I had a show about selling houses or carpet cleaning, he'd have been on the show. It just happens to be he likes sports. He doesn't bet sports. It's just an entertainment show. So let's, everybody relax.
It's exactly like wrestling. Entertainment.
That's right. Okay. Monday Night Football. We got the Raiders at the Broncos. And the Broncos, your mom's favorite team, right? Raiders.
Yeah.
Great rivalry, AFC West. Season basically over for the Broncos.
Just let me say it now. There's going to be a lot of hitting. I mean hard hitting, throwing helmets.
That's what's in a rivalry, huh? A lot of intensity, huh? Everybody wants to try and win.
Maybe even throwing them into the stands, huh, Dad?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Oakland at Denver, Monday night. Denver -1.5. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of hard hitting. Denver has Miller starting at quarterback again. Gannon playing with a broken left wrist. Oakland, Denver, always a good game on Monday night. And that's going to be it for our show. I'd like to thank everybody for watching.
You got a caller?
We got a caller?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, caller.
I think your son has every right to be on that show. That guy had no right telling you that.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Thanks.
All right, we're 1-1. Maybe we ought to hang around for 5 more minutes. Maybe get one more call. Go ahead, caller.
Go caller.
Goobers and Ravenets.
Ravens?
Hey, this guy,
I think William's doing a great job.
Yeah?
William, I want to hope we see you next week, okay, on Sports Talk. Goobers and Ravenets.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. I wonder where they ate dinner at tonight, some of these people. Anyway,
Make a comment on the air.
go ahead. You're on the air.
Bill,
yes.
I like to apologize for that grouch that just said something about your pal there.
Thank you.
I think it's
Thanks.
very entertaining, and we're enjoying it here. This is the first time I'm watching a sports show through the whole thing when you got past the Bears. And
I appreciate
speaking about the Bears, I'd like to have you make a comment about Enos, the fullback that they got.
Oh, he's fantastic. Last week he shredded the Vikings. I could just remember turning and watching the TV screen and seeing Enos running for 10 and 12 yards, catching a couple of passes. The Bears really looked like the favorite in that game. Minnesota was lucky to get away with a win. But he's a young guy. That's a young team, and every game it looks like the Bears are improving.
I got to agree with you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the call.
All right.
Okay, any more callers?
Yeah, I think you'll probably get a few of them.
Okay.
Caller, go ahead.
I think William's doing a great job on the show today.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. What's your name, son?
Go Miami.
Go Miami. First and last.
Oh, my name is Jeremy Fry.
Jeremy Fry. Appreciate the phone call, Jeremy.
Okay.
Thank
bye.
you. Okay, now this week, son, we got Buffalo and the Jets. You got Doug Flutie, okay?
Mhm.
Remember we talked about him earlier.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Watch out. You got your Flutie on? Okay. Say hello to your class like you wanted to, and then we're going to say goodbye.
Hi, George Romero, Troy Pringle,
Look at the camera.
Cody Murphy,
Okay, Miss Sims and let's...
and all my friends.
Okay. We'll take one more caller.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Shake up Boggs.
He's doing good.
He's good.
I appreciate all the phone calls from all the parents, a little helping out there.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, Lordy. Halloween all over again. Oh, my God. Okay, I thank everybody for the phone calls. Next week, as I said, I'll have my buddy Todd Dewey back with me. His mom was ill in New Hampshire. He had to fly back for the last couple of weeks. My brother will be back out here sometime in December. And I appreciate everybody watching. We're going to get this show kicking in full gear. And we got a very special Super Bowl party at Terrible's Lakeside. Details are still being worked out, but we're going to be buying thousands of dollars worth of souvenirs and gear. And we got over 500 seats to fill up in the bingo room. So we're looking at a gigantic Super Bowl party. And if anybody's interested in an AFC, NFC championship party, come down and put your vote in for that. And I'll try and talk John into getting the bingo room for that day, too. So we're talking about maybe 2 big football days left this year.
Caller?
Caller?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Like I say, as always, we'd like to thank everybody for watching. Have a good evening, and everybody take care of yourself. We'll see you next week.
Love you, Papa.
See you, Dad.
Prestige Homes, specializing in affordable housing. When was the last time you paid $1.49 for a T-bone steak? Your new Redmond home is less than that and includes a 7-year protection plan. 0 down when you own your own land. Trade-ins are welcome and model home furniture is available to the public with 30 to 60% off retail prices. Come and visit Prestige Homes. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound. Manufactured housing is an investment today that will save you money tomorrow. Our doors are open 7 days a week. 1397 Loop Road, south of Ace Hardware and just off Highway 160.
Daily Fencing, Pahrumph's finest fence company. Daily Fencing is licensed with 12 years experience. We use qualified fencing installers, guaranteed workmanship and material. Daily Fencing can install any fence, chain link, welded wire, field, wood, vinyl, or farm fence. We also install barbed wire, razor wire, and electric gates. Serving Pahrump since 1991. If you want quality fence work done right the first time, call Daily Fencing, 702-727-1590.
What do you like to do? Baseball, football, tennis, soccer, basketball, cycling, paintball, even golf. Ace Sports Place is the place to shop, featuring